All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Thompson, and I appreciate you being here this evening to help us with our project. This evening, we will be giving a... I wanted to say lecture, but it's not a lecture. We'll be giving a presentation on social manners. I'll be walking you through a dinner service and also a dinner sitting. My teammates, Joshua and Ignacio, will be giving you certain pointers on how to behave during social situations. So it is my delight to introduce Joshua to come up and present the first part of our program. Thank you. Joshua.
Hello, my name is Joshua Beretta, and today I'm going to be talking about social manners. So the first thing would be arm yourself with conversation topics. So things to talk about, or ideal things to talk about, would be the local news items, or favorite foods, or new business in the area, sports, pop culture topics, etc. Things to avoid would be political opinion, or pet peeves, or your age, or weight issues, or personal finances. Next slide. Then you would have to take pause. Make sure you don't just blurt everything out that comes into your head. You know, think about everything you're about to say before you say anything intentionally wrong. Next slide. After listening to others, one of the best ways to have people thinking you're a good conversationalist is to listen to what they have to say. Utilize these techniques to show you are listening. Maintain eye contact. Nod or interject with occasional yes, I agree, or I know what you mean. And ask questions during pauses in the conversation, and actually understand what they're talking about just in case they ask you a question. Next slide. Pay attention to signals. As you're chatting with other people or others, pay close attention to body language signals that you're losing them in conversation. If they can start to yawn, or if they stop making eye contact, or they start backing away, or they stop responding. Next slide. So right now I'd like to introduce Ignacio up to the stage.
My name is Ignacio Martinez, and we're going to be taking you on a journey of table manners, do's and don'ts of dining etiquette, and it's by author John Unn. And next slide, please. All right, these are a few quick table tips. Once you're seated at the table, you've gone to your dining facility or your dinner, you'll take your napkin. When you reach your table, you'll take your napkin off the table. Usually they'll have it folded up for you real nice. So once you sit down, you'll take it and you'll just place it on your lap. Let's see, should you need to get up or excuse yourself once you reach your table, it's always nice to take your napkin, place it on your chair, and go to wherever you need to go to. Just a quick reminder, always keep your elbows off the table and by your side. Not only is it polite, it's also to keep you from banging into your neighbor who's sitting right next to you. It's probably, most of these table settings, they probably got quite a few seats and quite a few folks there dining with you, so they're not going to have a whole lot of moving space when it comes to eating at these tables. Remember to sit up straight. Don't slouch at the table. That might have to be towards the end of the meal when you've had a couple of drinks and things like that, but not as soon as you reach the table. So it's always good to sit up straight and don't slouch once you reach the table. Next slide, please. Before you take the first bite, before you pick up your cutlery or anything like that, always let the host be the first one to take the first bite. If they don't give you a cue to begin eating, if you see that they've already started digging into that steak, go ahead and follow suit. But it's always a good thing to just let them be the first one, not you. Keep noise to a minimum while you're cutting and chewing the food. Be sure not to take your knife and bang it on the plate. And always, please, do not engage in conversation while you're chewing your food or you're taking a bite of something, because the worst thing that could happen is for it to fly out and hit somebody in the face. So we always want to just wait till we're done chewing the food, swallow it, before you engage in any conversation. Next slide, please. Eating and handling your meal. Of course, some of these dishes that are coming to the table are probably going to be extremely hot, so just wait for them to cool off for a little bit. Don't take it and blow on it like we would our children. That just let it cool off for a little bit. Engage in some conversation, which we now have been well versed in conversation with Joshua's presentation, so there should be plenty of things to talk about. Before you taste the food, it's always, before you add any seasonings or anything like that, it's always a good idea to just take a little taste. If it's not to your liking, if it's a little bland, maybe they haven't added any spices or anything like that, taste it first before you add, because the host or the cook in the background could be just watching, and if he sees you grab that salt and black pepper and just start shaking away, he could get offended, and that's the worst thing you want to do, is to offend the cook for one and the host for second. Should there be any dinner rolls or bread that's being served in a table, a lot of times it'll come in a basket. Take one, pass it along, and before you don't take your knife and cut the bread open or anything like that, especially if it's in a basket, it's being passed along to the guest. Take one and just break it apart with your hands. Should you need butter, they'll probably have some butter trays and knives on the table for you. If there's soup that's going to be served, keep the bowl stationary on the table. Don't pick the bowl up and pour it over your face or anything like that. Take your spoon and scoop it away from you, and don't clank it down into the bowl or anything like that. And just refrain from making any slurping or noises or anything while you're eating the soup. Next slide, please. Post-meal reminders. Let's say this is one of the best meals you've had in a long time. Don't let everyone else hear that. If you know, and it happens, we're all human. If you have a hiccup or a burp, just excuse yourself quietly. Don't bring any added, don't yell across the table, excuse me, you know, just keep it to yourself, basically. Once you're finished with your meals, should you, let's see, if you've got a napkin, you should just fold it up nice and neatly and place it to the side of your plate, preferably to the left. If there isn't a plate in front of you, if they've already picked up all the dishes, just fold it up and put it where the plate would normally be. Let's see, last but not least, have fun and enjoy your meal. Happy dining. And I'll reintroduce Rob so he can sum up our presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joshua and Ignacio. Very entertaining information, certainly very important to know. So what I'm going to do right now is set the stage. We've already come to the party, we've had our cocktails, we've had our conversation. We know how to do that appropriately. Thank you, Joshua. And we've sat down, we've had the meal, but before we finish the meal, we actually have to get through it. So I'm going to let you know it's time to relax, okay? This is not as scary as it seems. If you take a look at the picture, it might seem a little daunting, but it's just all a bunch of little pieces that make one easy part. I want you to make sure that you keep in mind those table manners, of course, and also know that if you're in doubt and you're not sure where you're at or what you need to be doing, best bet is to look at your neighbor. Because if you're doing what they're doing, maybe you're doing the right thing. And if you're not, well, you're doing the wrong thing together, right? May I have the next slide, please? So first I'm going to start off and I'm going to give you the perspective from my view that I have in my experience as a server, and it might help you understand how it works that you get your food and meal. So your server formally will always serve from the left side of you while you're dining. They will serve your food from the left side. They will always take your empty plates from the right side. Okay? Now, your drinks, you have to be careful. They will fill your drinks from the right side. At no point in time should you lift your glass off the table and give it to somebody to fill for you. That's gonna be my job as the server to try and get at that glass. Now, if I cannot get at your glass or your plates very easily, I will take it upon myself to find the easiest route to get it to you with the least amount of intrusiveness. So please just give me some space to get at that. And then each course of service, you will be given a specific set of utensils for each course, and after each course, those utensils, that plate, will be taken away. Next slide, please. So let's do it from your point of view as the diner. Again, the same rules apply. Your food will come in from the left, your drink will come in from the right, and your food and drink will come away from the right as well. So, meals should be served in a manner that each course will be represented by the appropriate flatware. So, as we saw in that first picture, there may be 6 or 7 forks, a couple of knives, 15 spoons, who knows? Rule of thumb, best way and easiest way to remember it is you're going to work yourself from the outside of the plate in. And as each course progresses, you'll leave your silverware on the plate and it will all disappear. Now back to that part where you need to look at your neighbor if you're lost. It doesn't matter if you picked up the wrong fork, the wrong spoon, the wrong knife. Just think about what you're eating and think about what utensil you need to use for that. It's not going to do you much good to try and eat your soup with a fork. You can try, but you're probably going to break some of those rules that Ignacio told us about. So if you need a spoon, use a spoon. If it's the soup spoon for dessert, doesn't matter. You're still getting the food. Nobody's likely to notice anyhow. So the bread plate and the knife may be removed depending on whether or not the host desires to remove those. It is not something to be played with on the table. Again, utilize those skills that Joshua told us about. Keep that conversation going. You're at the formal dining for a reason. You're there to introduce yourself, to meet people, to celebrate. Doesn't matter. The last thing you want to be doing is be known as the guy who's playing with his food or empty utensils. So hopefully we've pulled enough information together for you here that you can be successful in the formal dining, or maybe even have a good idea of how to provide a formal dining service with the rudimentary information that I've given you on that topic. I'd like to again thank Joshua and Ignacio on their outstanding work on this project, and I appreciate you folks coming out here this evening to help us with our project. If anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those for you, and if I can't get the answers for you this evening,